Fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. Got a special guest today, my man Quincy Carrier. If you're not following our channel, AFC North Talk, please be sure to follow that. But this is my guy when it comes to Browns coverage, even basketball coverage. Sometimes we talk about the NBA and stuff off air as well. But my man Quincy, what's up, man? Say what's up to the people.
Hey man, doing good. It's as bad as Sunday was. Tuesday we got Game 7. Wednesday you got Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Thursday you got football, and you don't have to think about what the Browns did against the Ravens all week. So you know what? Ultimately, I'm thankful for this week. And excited to get going here, man.
Yeah, it was a tough week for both of us. I think, based off of the Randy Bullock missed field goal to you guys against the Ravens, which was a tall order, but it was just tough. It's hard to kind of get that bad taste out of your mouth, and then you immediately have to move on to Thursday. It's like you got to immediately move on. Now, one thing that we kind of touched on, and this is like breaking news, and I really want to break my chair right now or my computer screen, because the Bengals decided to sign your boy, Austin Seibert. Please tell these people, because I got people in my mentions right now like, come on, Ace, you're being too harsh and this and that. Please let them know exactly what Austin Seibert stands for and just give us a quick scouting report on him.
Ooh, man, yeah, I'm sorry that they have transferred that Austin Seibert fan base to you because, oh, man, I'm so happy to get rid of it. Austin Seibert is what I believe. Now, this could change, but what I believe to be a below-average kicker for a couple of reasons. One, the 85% field goal percentage in extra points is just god-awful. It's not really acceptable. And if you watch the game against Baltimore, no reason to believe it changed. This is something that showed up during camp. It showed up during the game. I'm surprised that he got to Game 1 as the only kicker on the active roster. Also, the issue with Austin Seibert and why those extra points are such a big issue is because he doesn't have range, right? So Sebastian Janikowski is somebody who famously wasn't that great, wasn't as bad as Austin Seibert at extra point, wasn't that great at extra points. He could make a 50, 60-yard field goal, no problem. So if you're the Bengals in the situation and you need that extra field goal to kind of make up for that extra point miss, no problem. Sebastian Janikowski's got you. But Austin Seibert, on the other hand, yeah, that ain't what he's going to do. That's not his bag. He's not going to make a long-range field goal, and he might not even make the extra point. And let's also remember the field goal that he missed that really got him out of Cleveland was like a 37-yard field goal with no win, no fans, So, yeah, look, Austin Seibert could turn a new leaf and turn into an elite kicker. It happens. Some kickers do that, right, where they go to their second, third team and they turn into great. But all I'm going to say, if that does happen for the Bengals, it was extremely unlikely to begin with. And you need to understand that he's not great. In my opinion, I've done a lot of research on his stats. I was surprised to see that he got picked up by another team. I'm honestly surprised to see he made it to the regular season.
Honestly, my immediate reaction, because we recently just had a show on AFC North Talk. If you guys are watching this, please subscribe to that channel. It's a roundtable featuring myself, Quincy, our resident Steelers fan, Tony Serino, as well as my guy, Sonny, representing the Ravens. But we literally had, Quincy went off on, a tangent about this guy, about how bad he is. So when we signed him, I didn't have to do research because I had all my research from Quincy, and he's spitting those facts. But, of course, let's get away from him and let's talk about the upcoming game. So obviously this is definitely the Battle of Ohio. We're kicking things off early. It's got a bit of a different feel just because we've got Joe Burrow. Baker's headed into his second year. Obviously what happened in Baltimore, but I think that you said this would be a game where you guys are going to come out angrily and try to fight back. So from your version of how you see this game, how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, see, it's going to be interesting, right? Because I think you're going to find out a lot about this Cleveland Browns team that's been in question. People have questioned the heart of this team. I don't know if that's necessarily fair yet to do because, they got punched in the mouth against Baltimore. Now it's their chance to show, what you're going to do about it, quite honestly. Right. And how they come out here on Thursday night will be indicative on the mindset and the mentality that locker room has. I think they have to come out here and treat treat this game like it's a must win, almost like it's a playoff game, because you go down here against Cincinnati, you don't have the excuse of being on the road and playing Baltimore. You're going to be at home on a Thursday night. Doesn't get more home field advantage than that in the NFL. You need to win this game. You don't want to go 0-2 in the division. We already know that you're not really going to compete with Baltimore to take the division from them, but you still want to be able to have a good division record and a good record against Cincinnati specifically because of the wild card timebreakers. Because if you look at any team trying to make the wild card, your division, if you're in the AFC North or AFC South, is going to be incredibly important, because all those AFC South teams minus Jacksonville are going to compete for the wild card. In the AFC North, all those teams can compete for the wild card. Right. So, when it comes to common opponents and conference opponents, that's going to matter. So with the Browns, they have to come into this one with a mindset that they're going to run the football and play a more physical brand of football offensively than they did against Baltimore. I don't know what happened there. And two, with the mindset of, this is really like, it's all on the line. You know what I mean? It's game 6 against the Celtics. If you're LeBron, like it is all on the line, all that hype, all that talent on the roster. If you come into Thursday night on national TV after getting embarrassed by Baltimore and lose, the jokes are going to be rampant, and I can't necessarily sit here and defend that these jokes shouldn't be coming your way, because you put up a clown show the first 2 weeks if that happens.
Right. So one guy that we've talked about in particular is Nick Chubb and also Kareem Hunt. As you had a video that went into detail, you gave Kareem Hunt an extension. I think one thing that was surprising for people in fantasy was that the fact that they kind of had an even split. Is that something that you see going forward, or are we going to see more Nick Chubb versus Kareem Hunt?
It depends on the fit, right? Like, I think against Baltimore, honestly, Kareem Hunt should have got more carries than Nick Chubb. I think he already did, but I think he should have got a lot more carries than Nick Chubb, because he's just so much more effective and explosive at hitting that edge. And with a team like Baltimore, you're not really going to go inside on them that much, right? The Calais Campbell, Derek Wolfe, Brandon Williams, they're not going to get pushed around. They didn't get pushed around, and they're going to be one heck of an interior defensive line all season. So I understand why they went with Kareem Hunt there more. But yeah, I think you're going to see a healthy dose of Kareem Hunt out the backfield, because he looked great, quite honestly. Like, Nick Chubb's the one who fumbled. Kareem Hunt looked excellent. Every time he touched that ball, he looked like, Kansas City Chiefs 2017 opening day Kareem Hunt, honestly. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see if that split leans in the direction of Kareem Hunt more than it does Nick Chubb, just because Kareem Hunt, he has a more versatile skill set. Not saying that Nick Chubb's not good. Nick Chubb's amazing, but Kareem Hunt might be more versatile when you talk about he can catch a lot better than Nick Chubb can.
So another guy that the Bengals are pretty much worried about, especially after facing off against Joey Bosa last week, and he just completely blew up Bobby Hart. We're worried about Myles Garrett. Can you talk to us about how big Myles Garrett will be in this game and where he will be used? Because we noticed in the Bosa game, in the first half, it seemed that he was lined up against Bobby Hart. Then he kind of switched sides. Is that something that you guys do with Myles, or what I guess will be Myles' role in this game?
Yeah, Myles moves around a lot on the defensive line. He'll play inside some snaps. He'll play outside on both sides. So, yeah, I'd expect the Browns. They did this with Orlando Brown. I expect them to put Myles on that right side a lot against Bobby Hart. And, if you're the Browns, why wouldn't you do that? Even though I honestly think Olivier Vernon might match up pretty well against Bobby Hart, because Bobby Hart, he has more problems with those like power rushers, the Joey Bosas, the Bosas of the world, the guys who can kind of just will you to death. That's more Olivier Vernon's bag. He's actually not terrible when it comes to the more athletic guys. Bobby Hart's pretty athletic for a tackle. So, I'm interested to see how they do that. I think both of the ends kind of match up against them well. Obviously, Myles Garrett's definitely capable of having a good game against Bobby Hart. But I don't know if they're going to find that necessary to do and move him around and not much like they did with him in Baltimore, because, again, Ronnie Stanley versus Olivier Vernon is a completely different deal than, Bobby Hart against Olivier Vernon.
Right. Facts. So obviously the big, some of the big headlines, because you guys had several last season, but one of the major ones was about Odell Beckham Jr. And, obviously I felt like he had a bad draw with his first matchup, going against Marlon Humphrey, going against that secondary. Do you think that this is a week that you get him more involved and Jarvis? Jarvis had a pretty good game last week, but is this going to be one where you guys focus on OBJ with him being against William Jackson III, or is this just a Jarvis Landry Kyber game, or do you also get your tight ends involved as well? I also saw your boy Njoku got hurt, so is this the week that you guys let it fly, or is it more so kind of on the ground?
I hope it's on the ground. I hope they use their tight ends if they're going to pass the ball a ton. Look, Odell was in the twilight zone against Baltimore because he was getting open. He just wasn't catching anything for whatever reason. Like, I don't know it was clear something was going on with him where he was distracted or he couldn't focus, or maybe he was trying to do too much or prove too much in that first game. So I expect him to calm down and not play like that. But, if you look at this from Baker Mayfield's perspective, like Odell had like almost 7 drops in that one game, like in a ridiculous amount of drops. So how comfortable is he going to be throwing the ball to Odell for the rest of the season because of that? Like, once you got wide receiver starts dropping the ball a lot, you really don't want to look his way, even if he's open. That becomes a paradox in itself. So that's one thing I do worry about with Odell and Baker is that trust was kind of to begin with. And, starting the season like that, that's not really going to be helpful. Jarvis did okay, but they were kind of letting Jarvis have all that. Like I don't want to give him too much credit. I also don't want to push him down, but I think Baltimore was willing to live with Jarvis getting open. And honestly, I don't think Baltimore did that great. Like, they were a good secondary, but I don't think they did a great job against the wide receivers. I think just when your best wide receiver has 10 targets and 3 catches, that's going to have an effect on how that team looks. David Njoku did look good in that first game. I don't think he was going to be – I hope they don't do what they did last week where they were in shotgun most of the time, spread out. It just wasn't what they practiced all training camp and wasn't what we were told that team was going to look like. So I hope they, more seam routes with the tight ends, more, under center, more of that kind of brand of football other than this shotgun kind of experiment that really looked like the Freddie Kitchens offense, to be honest, at times.
Right. So another person that I want to talk about is Joe Burrow. Obviously, we've been talking about Joe Burrow all offseason, but the dynamic is kind of different. And I kind of want to get your perspective from this because now you guys actually have the advantage of at least getting one game of film, right? So you can actually see what he's done. But the Chargers, they had nothing. And most NFL teams aren't really going to have much to go off of. How do you see you guys defending Joe Burrow?
Oh, man. I think Joe Burrow's going to have himself a good day today. Unless Joe Burrow gets tackled to the point to where he just can't do anything, like that like Bobby Hart's is that bad, I don't really think they're going to be able to stop him. I mean, like, if you look at what Joe Burrow can do, he can do everything that looked like he could do in college, run a little bit, throw really good, throw on the run. This is a dude I was really impressed with watching that game because he had all the opportunity in the world to fold. He did not fold. That is the most important thing for a young quarterback, is that he threw that interception in the fourth quarter and still drove them down the field and pretty much won them the game if it weren't for an errant referee call right there.
God, don't remind me.
So yeah, I'm really impressed with Joe Burrow. I think the big difference, and I think a lot of Bengals fans might agree with this, is Joe Burrow and Andy Dalton is that you're not afraid that Joe Burrow is going to fold. Late fourth quarter situation. If he gets tackled a lot, if he gets sacked a lot, those are times where you're like, oh, Andy Dalton's going to fold, because I've seen Andy Dalton fold in those situations. But with Joe Burrow, give him all the credit he wants. He got beat up in the first half. Bobby Hart played one of the worst halves of football I've ever seen a tackle play. And he threw that interception. He made all those mistakes, and he still did not fold at the end of it. And, going into this Thursday night game, I'm telling Browns fans, they might not want to believe it, but like, Joe Burrow ain't going to fold because it's Thursday night football. He might get better because it's Thursday night football in a division game. He's not going to fold no matter how much you have him up by. If you get up big on him, I would not expect him to fold. This dude does not fold. I think Joe Burrow's a special dude. It's almost a shame he's in Cincinnati, but I ain't gonna hate on y'all that bad. But yeah, I think Joe Burrow's gonna be able to have a good game. Look, the tight ends are gonna be open. The secondary has not been communicating well in this zone. I really hope they play more man because the zone has not worked. It didn't work in a scrimmage. It really didn't work against Baltimore. You watch that highlight, like Lamar Jackson really wasn't working hard against Cleveland. He didn't have to do all the things Lamar had to do last year to get to 300 yards. He just threw the wide open man. Hollywood Brown, boom, wide open, 15 yards down the field. Mark Andrews, wide open. So, if that's not cleaned up, then Joe Burrow is going to do even more damage with that because that's really where Joe Burrow's bag is being able to slice up some zones. So, I worry about that, and it's really going to be up to Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon to create some pressure to keep the score down.
Right, facts. So, obviously, you said that this is Game 6 for the Browns. What would you say are the keys for the Browns to get a victory? And if you have a prediction, feel free to share it.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this yesterday. I think the Browns, honestly, they need to not worry about looking like the most sexy offense in the world. I think that's what they try to come in and do, right? They have all those talent, all those weapons, and they try to score 40 points, and they try to put themselves in an offense that scores 40 points. This ain't a 40-point offense yet. They're just not at that point in chemistry yet. Maybe they'll be at that point at the end of the year, but right now they need to focus on what they're really good at and what this Browns team is really good at, what's been proven that Baker Mayfield's good at, play action under center. That's what they need to do. Run this ball a ridiculous amount of time with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb because I think you can get it against the Bengals a little bit there. You might be able to get the edge. I don't think you're going to dominate them completely because Mike Daniels, I think DJ Reader and Geno Atkins are still out there. It's still a good front, but I think you're going to be able to have more success than you were against the Ravens. So, run the ball a lot, give the ball to Kareem Hunt, get the ball to Nick Chubb. I think you're probably going to see a healthy dosage of Nick Chubb this game, and he's going to get more carries than Kareem Hunt. And then, hit your tight ends. Look, the reason I felt like they fell behind so bad in Baltimore is not just the bad decision making, it's the bad play calling. The tight ends weren't even involved. Like David Njoku's technically a tight end, but those snaps he got the ball, he was really a wide receiver. So I think not hitting the tight end a lot against Baltimore really cost them in the pass game, really set them back. And again, that was my key to the game against Baltimore. Hit the tight ends a lot. They didn't hit Austin Hooper hardly at all. And they really didn't even hit him under center. So, hit the tight ends, run the ball a lot. This is a good football team when you do that. If you don't do that, you're going to be in trouble. Your defense is not great. You need to play ball control at some level to keep the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. So if I'm the Browns, I'm running the ball a lot. I'm doing a lot of play action. I'm hitting my tight ends. And then after that, after you get that established, then you can worry about Odell. Then you can worry about Jarvis. Then you can worry about feeding those Myles. But right now, you need to win football games. And that's when this team's at its best. That's when Baker Mayfield's at his best. And that's what you got to do.
See, this is why I had to bring this guy on here. Are you guys hearing this? This man is spitting straight fire. But go ahead, Quincy.
Yeah, so I think I was thinking about this, right? Because everything in my bone wants me to go back to 2007 where the Browns got blown out by the Steelers in week 1. And then we had that shootout against Cincinnati in week 2 and became one of the better offenses in football. Everything wants me to go back to that and be like, well, it's going to be a shootout on Thursday Night Football. But I look at this and I look at what it's going to take for the Browns to win and how they're going to be able to have to get points. And I think that this is going to have to be a game. If the Browns win it, would have to probably be around 17-13, a similar score to what LA did. You're going to have to disrupt Joe Burrow a lot. You're going to have to make it kind of ugly on his part to be able to set him back a little bit. Because if he gets comfortable, I'm confident he's going to be able to move the ball on this defense. And then for the Browns, you're going to have to keep Baker Mayfield's attempts down. One thing I'm happy with Baker Mayfield in that week 1 game is that he did not do the Baker Mayfield, I'm down 14 points, let me throw 3 interceptions to make it better deal, which is it sounds like a joke, but it's honestly a huge deal because that's one of the biggest problems with Baker Mayfield is that when he does get down 14, he starts to press, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And throw ball. He tries to make the big play way too hard. And then that's why the game was so bad against Tennessee because he really pressed way too hard. So that's a good sign. That tells me the interceptions might have a chance to be down. So that's all good. I think that's what the score would have to be if the Browns win. If this score is above 20 for any team at halftime, I'm not confident that it's going to be the Browns coming out on top of that one.
Got you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Quincy Carrier. Quincy, please tell them where they can find all of your stuff. And if you're listening, he covers the Browns. He covers all NFL topics, even some other topics outside of the NFL as well. But Quincy, please let them know where they can find your stuff.
You can find me on youtube.com/Quincy Carrier, or just put Quincy Carrier in your search bar. Put Austin Seibert in your search bar. I think I pop up for one of those videos. I made like 3 videos about how much I dislike this guy. So, of course, he's probably going to make a game-winning field goal against the Browns on Thursday Night Football, because that's how it works. I don't get to be right for a whole week on Austin Seibert. But, yeah, find me there. Check me out there. Subscribe to me there. Ace, thank you for having me on, my man.
No, appreciate it, Quincy, for sure. Thank you so much. And you guys stay tuned, because I'm going to be appearing on Quincy's channel as well. So be sure to subscribe to his channel, because you will get another Browns preview and Bengals preview from me as well. And it'll kind of be flipped. So it'll be him posing the questions and stuff to me. So be sure to check him out. Also check out our channel, the AFC North Talk. Be sure to subscribe there. We're at 800. We're approaching 1,000. Once we get to 1,000, we're just really going to take off for sure. And if you want to see this Steelers fan by the name of Tony Serino, if you're on there, if you want to see him have to wear an embarrassing jersey, we got to get to 2,000 subs. So you guys hate Steelers fans. I hate Steelers fans. Even Quincy hates Steelers fans. So be sure that you subscribe to the AFC North Talk so we can make this dream come true. Thank you guys for listening. This is New Stripe City. And as usual, I will leave you guys with a who day, all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.